Joe, you want to go ahead?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Today's going to be a little bit of a different kind of webinar. It's going to be more focused on nuts and bolts. I would say more steak than sizzle. And I wanted to talk before we start and turning over to John Fair about the three creations of an amazing development. And the first creation came out of the mind of John in terms of the concept and design. And very early on, before a lot of people knew what the Strand was or how people were going to get there on the dirt road that used to be there, I had a lot of confidence in John and learned a lot as a mentor to me, young in my career when he was involved extensively as a partner of Mark Durliat's in Grace Bay Club Villas and then the estate at Grace Bay Club. I remember when they sat Nina and I down and said, look, we're going to do this new development and all the units are going to be more than $3 million. And don't worry, it's going to be okay. And it was a big move that we made at the time. And they were proved, and John was proved absolutely right in his confidence in the market and in their prowess as developers and hospitality operators. And thus the Estate of Grace Bay Club was born. So several years later, when John approached me about working in this on this project, I was thrilled and really loved the concept and design. I was familiar with what he did with Esperanza in Mexico and thought that something along that shoreline would really be amazing. But it was very much of a destination within a destination, and it took a while to educate, especially the local market and influencers, about what an amazing location it was. And it wasn't really until John and his group paved the road that people became true believers. And now that road is beautifully paved all the way, and people go there all the time. So the first creation is that amazing concept, the design of these vacation villas and the luxury residences, the Graham residences, the estates, as well as just the amazing beach that has exceeded everyone's expectation, the shoreline, the amazing amount of frontage, the fact that every room faces the ocean, and a wonderful, club-centric amenity set, which is second to none for the low amount of density they have on the site. So then the second creation is the development and the construction, and that's really hard. And it takes a long time. And I think during that process, one needs to be incredibly persistent and patient. And nobody's more persistent and patient than John. John's been in this a long time in places like the Caribbean and Mexico. He knows the deal, never wavers, and his vision and the execution of that vision. And I think I just tell the story of these pallets of tiles that were in one of the villas under construction. And I said, John, what are they? And he says, they're the tiles, but we're not going to use them. I said, what? I said, I'm not going to use them because they're not acceptable enough. So he went ahead and he stayed true to his what he wanted to do and got, the other tiles in, they got sold off or whatever. It was an example of an unrelenting will to develop on the initial creation in the construction. With Dave had great partner in the development, and now people can see the results with the amazing finish and the soulfulness that has gone in to the construction of the Strand. So that's creation number two. And then as Jamie well knows, as working on the operations side is the third is the opening. And that is really the third creation. And the opening is when it becomes a living organism and it becomes an experience. So you've taken it from paper to bricks and mortar, an amazing landscape and your amazing topography and the geography and the ecology of the beautiful environment, the sea and the sand and the environs and the weather. And then you have the opening. And the Strand opened a year ago, still had a lot of construction. So the first year was bumpy. Although people who went there, I think, had a wonderful experience, but it's very hard to get travel agents and your travel partners to get behind you when you're under such construction, intense construction. So now we fast forward to this past year where while still not stabilized as a development, while still having a little bit of construction, the Strand is really involved in its first full operating year and it is succeeding beautifully. And with that, I just wanted to say how much I admire the project, how much I love it, and wanted to turn it over to John to talk about what I feel are the amazing economics of the vacation villa product at the Strand, where every bedroom locks out to a separate key that's oceanfront and has an A+ position on the water and along the coastline. So with that, I'll turn it over to John to go through some of the nuts and bolts and the operational and hospitality updates for the development.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to all of you who are attending. Thank you. And give you an update on what's going on with the Strand. As Joe said, we opened a little over a year ago, but that first year was challenging. We had to be very careful because we had so much construction going on, including almost 40% of our core wasn't complete. And so rather than push it too hard, we were very cautious because we didn't want to have 200 bad reviews on TripAdvisor because of construction noise. So this year, we've completed the core, the 22 vacation villas that turns into 62 keys. We completed the core in November, late November. So we really considered Christmas of 2025 to be our hard opening. So we just completed our first full quarter and our first quarter of 2026, and it went great. And so I wanted to give everybody a little bit of an update because I know a lot of people have had clients who are interested, but they want to see data. They want to see real operations data. And so we're here to give you that. Like I said, it was a good, strong quarter coming out of the gates. I still believe we're a minimum of a year to 2 years away from being stabilized. When we gave out pro formas, those pro formas were based upon stabilization. Stabilization is usually considered to be the third year after you formally open. So I look at that. Some people could say that might be next year. Probably the year after would be when we're expect to be fully stabilized. I do expect this year to finish the whole year at 40% occupancy. I expect next year to be at 50% and the following year at 60%. And really, when you have a resort like the Strand that's a hybrid between ownership and hospitality, getting more than 60% paid occupancy is really hard, and you're kind of pushing it because we encourage our owners to come and spend time, a significant time there. When you're an owner at the Strand, we treat you like a king and queen, and your family too. So this first quarter, we had several things happened. One, we got into leading hotels of the world. We also just got accepted in American Express Fine Hotels and Resorts. We should be live in American Express in June. We also got accepted into the Chase Edit. Those are all for Platinum card, they're top and Black card holders. And then, as some of you may know, we've won a couple of pretty good awards. We won the Alice Award for the Development of the Year in Latin America and the Caribbean. And that was voted on by all the hotel owners, private equity, lenders, all the big players in the world, in the hotel industry. We also got Esquire's one of the best new hotels in the world in 2025, one of 30 all throughout the world, all hotels, including resorts and hotels. And new things that are going on at the Strand, for example, the restaurant, the Del Mar, we have big changes going on. We are in discussions with a good friend of ours named Richard Sandoval, who is one of the top restaurateurs in the world. He has 61 restaurants in 12 countries, 14 restaurants in Four Seasons hotels and resorts. Richard's put his chef in. He's kind of helped us come in and reposition the restaurant. And he's probably going to come in as our partner. So it'll end up being the Del Mar by Richard Sandoval. And we'll be soft opening this summer and hard opening in the fall, a second venue which will be more of a casual vibe, small bites, sharing plates and such like that. Our spa is starting construction, should be done in 12 months, and phase 2 of the marina is getting ready to start. Given all that, what I thought would be interesting is to take actual results of a 3-bedroom in the B building for the first quarter. So if you could go to that slide, Sarah, that'd be awesome. There we go. I don't know if you can expand that, but what we did is we took an actual unit in the B building, a 3-bedroom, and its performance for the first quarter. We took the quarter, divided it by 3 to take an average month on both revenue and expenses. And then we took our pro forma that we had been put out to a lot of you have seen, and we divided that by 12 to get an average month. And I just wanted to show you how close these were, how close they came out. And again, that pro forma was based upon full stabilization, which we're at least a year or 2 away from. But I wanted to show you, nevertheless, in our first full quarter after our hard opening, we're already producing as good a numbers as we put in our pro forma. So on the rental income side, the pro forma was averaging 61,000, and this particular unit was at 51% occupancy on an average for the quarter, and it did 58,000. The travel agent and credit card fees were an estimate of 15%. In actuality, we came in at just over a third of that because we do a lot of marketing and a lot of direct sales. The fees are what they are coming out. So on the actuals, we actually had an owner gross income that was higher than the pro forma. And then when we go down to the expenses, some are higher, some are lower, but overall it turned out almost identical at $12,643 a month for all the expenses.
Amazing.
And then you go down to the club fees, and the gross is slightly higher as costs have gone up in the club budget, which is our strata, is the club. So the fees, $3,700 a month. And when it says less pro forma resort charge, that's a unique thing that we're doing at the Strand, where we charge every guest a 5% resort charge on their rental. But we take 100% of that and apply it to the club budget. Now, right now, we're still in a deficit because we're not done with the resort. So it goes against the deficit. But as soon as that deficit's gone, and we're just about there, it's really, really close right now, then that 5% starts benefiting the homeowners. And that's where you see a difference on the monthly pro forma. When this project's fully done and we have 41 units and 81 keys, we're anticipating that it'll cut your actual dues by as much as 40%. So we'll go from dues that are probably in the top 20% along Grace Bay, for example, way below Amanyara and Pear Key, but probably in the top 20% on Grace Bay. And we'll end up being by far the lowest on the island of any significant resort. But today, we don't have those. So that isn't benefiting them yet. So the net club fees are out. And anyway, when you add it all up and you go down to the bottom, the actual of a unit in the first quarter did 23,696 per month average over the first 3 months, net. And in the pro forma, it was 22,352. So I thought that was super interesting, and I wanted to share that with all you folks. That's really interesting because a lot of people think, well, you're probably puffing up the pro formas, or can you really get those numbers? Is it realistic? I can tell you that next year and the year after, our ADRs will be up, I would guess 20% from where they are currently as we get more stabilized. And our occupancy will be a lot higher. So I personally, I think it's remarkable that we're meeting the pro forma already. And I think it's fair to reason that next year and the year after we'll probably blow it away. So I thought that'd be interesting to walk through. This would probably be a good time to turn it over to Latoya and talk a little bit about our remaining inventory, which isn't much. Latoya, you're on mute.
Hey guys, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Latoya. Thanks, John. And of course, Sotheby's, as the listing agent for the Strand, we are responsible for bringing this offering to you and letting you know what we have left. So at current, we only have 4 vacation villas / condos that are for sale, and the last remaining signature residences offering to you. Those are the only single family homes that are going to be left on the development. So if you want one, you got to get in. There's only 4 left. But C building and B building have 2 units left individually. A 2-bedroom unit B7 is still available. B8 was just closed, so yes, we are still selling these units. One of the questions and answers that are coming in is the fact that how are you guys ensuring that the renders are exactly what the units look like when we walk in? And we simply say John delivers. So what you see on paper is what you walk into when you come on island. And as an owner, what you see is exactly what you will get. This is the rooftop terrace of a 2nd floor suite. Sarah just left it, but it is exactly how you see it. And how we present it is exactly what you will get for the product. But yes, there's 1 2-bedroom unit left in B building, and that's B7. Every single unit has the ground floor plunge pools with direct ocean views. This unit is an excellent entry level on island for ownership.
And by the way, let me interrupt for a second, Latoya. Sorry about that.
Okay.
But a good friend of mine bought B8 on February 2nd or 3rd or something like that. He closed on it.
Yeah.
And in February and March, he walked away with $48,000 in his pocket on net rentals. So, so when somebody buys one of these, you're getting the rental benefits day one.
Exactly. And they are proven high performing rentals. We're not selling you anything out of the cloud. And as you can see with the actuals that John supplied just now, we're actually doing better than the performance that we had supplied to you. So the numbers are speaking for themselves. So we have 3 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath villas / condos left. And these are the numbers: building B, building C, and of course, with the improvements and the updates in building C, newer building, there's a little bit of more of a price increase for those units. And then we come to the 4 signature residences that are left. The vacant lot that you see on the site plan is where these residences are going to be. So they are next to building C, but just before you get to residence R9, luxury residence on the other side. All will have dry docks, all will have direct access to the pool, to the ocean. And every single one of them, you will be able to just wake up in the mornings and see those amazing blues in front of you from your villa. So yes, we do have these absolutely gorgeous color palettes for you. All I can say is that guests really, really love these homes.
So what I would say about these signature villas that's unique is, one, it's the highest point in the Strand.
Yeah,
These sit an average of 40 feet above high tide. So the views are absolutely breathtaking of the Caicos Banks. The second thing that's interesting about them is each one of these 4 homes has 4 bedrooms directly on the water with 2
facing the ocean.
masters. There's a master down and a master bedroom up. So they're great for multi-gen families or even 2 families buying together potentially. And very efficient. And 3 of the 4 have a family room slash studio slash bedroom. So it could be a 5th bedroom, it could be a family room, could be a studio, game room, whatever you want it to be.
And then, of course, some of them, with the 5-bedroom option, you have a casita in the courtyard. And of course, you have your garages, and they're just designed to give you that comfort home feeling, but still be a part of a resort amenities. So you still have all the privileges of being in the resort, but at a home. So they start at 7.4 for the 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. And for the 5 bedrooms, 5.5 baths, those are 7.95 all in. The furniture packages, of course, are separate. And we normally tell buyers to please budget between 8 to 10% of the cost of the villa for your furniture. So taking these in mind when you plan for your purchase. Yeah.
If we could go back to the vacation villas for just a minute, perhaps.
The 2 and 3 bedrooms, Sarah?
Yeah, I'd like to just point something out because it was unique when we did it, and it's been spectacularly well received both by the owners and by the hospitality guests. And that is the fact that these are actually 0 lot line homes. So there's no strata, there's no vertical strata. There's 0 lot line homes, and you own it fee simple, including a lot. And each level is a separate lockout unit, but it all functions also together as one. So on a 3-bedroom, for example, you have the ground floor, the 2nd floor, and the 3rd floor. Each one is a separate key. So one of the things the homeowners are loving the most is they can come down and stay in the 1st level, and they can be renting out the 2nd level and the 3rd level and getting income while they're staying there. And each one was designed to be incredibly private. So it just works beautifully. So you actually have 3 separate legitimate beachfront keys.
Yes.
The worst of which is $1,000 a night on the 3rd level. And then the 2nd level is a couple hundred more. And then the ground floor has a plunge pool and is a full 1-bedroom suite. And the rack rate on that's a couple $1,000s a night. So it's a neat layout. It's unique. It's different, and it's working very well.
It's working more than very well because we have a lot of owners, like John had mentioned previously, who still come down a lot. They come down and they're able to stay in their units and still earn, which is what exactly they bought it for. The flexibility of still having to earn and still be a part of the resort and enjoy life. So these are not duplicated on any other property in Turks and Caicos. This is what makes the Strand extremely unique and high performing. John?
So really, that's all we wanted to update everybody on, so you could see some real numbers, what's going on at the Strand, how are we doing, and what's left. So we have 8 units left in the whole resort. Everything else has been sold out up to $15 million. And it's a great time to get in here and get some of this last inventory and start collecting some rents and enjoying yourselves. Hopefully you guys have some clients who'd be interested. Any
I have a question, John.
questions? Yeah.
What is the latest on the boat docks?
So 8 slips are completely done. power, water, everything there. And then we have another 16. We're going to do 10 more in phase 2, and then we'll do 4 in a phase 3. And phase 2 is starting right now.
Okay.
And the spa, John?
So the spa, and our spa, we have 5 treatment rooms, his and hers, bathrooms and locker rooms with saunas and indoor, outdoor showers and everything. And then a beautiful outdoor area with a hot and cold plunge that's sort of in a cave, limestone cave. And the spa, we just finally got our building permit. So it's getting ready to start. It'll probably start in June, and it'll take about 12 months to build.
I have a question from Christopher Heary.
Christopher, yeah.
John, do you expect the pro formas of the signature residences to be as consistent as the villas, or is that market more variable?
So you're not going to get as high when you get into the large residences. You're not going to get as high of occupancy, but you're going to get very high rates. So we've been getting 7,000 a night for the one up the what we call the luxury residences. We've been averaging about 7,000 a night. At Christmas, we get 10 to 12,000 a night for it. I think on the signatures, they'll be 5,500 to 6,000 a night. And since it's going to be our best entry point for a 4 to 5 bedroom unit, I think they're going to rent really, really well. So, if I were running a pro forma on it, and I have, I'd probably be looking at running a 35% and maybe a 45% occupancy, something like that.
Yeah.
And the numbers are going to look pretty darn good.
Thanks, John. Checking other questions. John, there's a person much more handsome than you and under your name on this webinar. It would be great if you could introduce Randy to the group and give a little background. It would be awesome.
Yes.
Perfect. Randy, you there? You're on mute.
Sorry.
Let me introduce Randy. Randy is our acting general manager. Randy came in January. We're thrilled to have him. He's been fantastic. And Randy has an amazing background. He's kind of a legend in the Caribbean, where he was the general manager of what's the famous resort?
Sandy Lane.
Sandy Lane, right, in Barbados. He was the general manager at Sandy Lane for 10 years. Sorry, I had a moment there. Sandy Lane's renowned as probably the premier resort in the entire Caribbean. And so we're thrilled to have Randy. So introduce yourself.
Well, John, thank you very much for your introduction. I can only say to you, sir, that the check's in the mail. No, it's a pleasure to be here to work with John and Marcella and the team. And we've made some good strides. We've enhanced the quality. We've brought structure, organization, discipline. We have some new department heads who some have just started. Food and beverage manager from Brown's Hotel in London, wonderful 5-star property. Ben is our food and beverage manager. And we've got some wonderful department heads also joining us shortly. Executive housekeeper in June, and we have someone that I've worked with for many, many, many years. He was a lead trainer at Forbes 5-star and also in leading hotels of the world standards, Eduardo Duran. And Eduardo is here with us from the end of the first week in June for about 5 weeks. Looking at all of our SOPs, redoing some, where necessary, and conducting training in those standards. So we have really, really exciting times ahead. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
A quick anecdote. I was having lunch at South Bank, and I met Randy, and I think three of the people that were working that day had worked for Randy. So it was, I think there are many people in Turks and Caicos, I think, who were either trained or worked at or were connected with Randy at one time. So welcome to Turks and Caicos, Randy.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure.
Are there any other questions out there while we're still on? Does anybody want to write anything else in the Q&A? Okay, if not, thank you all for joining us. Sarah, thank you for setting everything up. Latoya, great job. Randy,
Thank you,
wonderful.
sir. Thank you very much.
Have you
everyone.
on. John, great job and congratulations so far with the operation in 2026. And to everyone else, have a wonderful day and a weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you.